Hello, and welcome to ICC 8068. Look how much iced coffee I have left. I'm proud of myself because I got it like a while ago. I feel like it's been at least an hour. Maybe I've got it sufficiently long enough ago that. Okay. Um, the ice is melted, but it's still cool. Anyway, so today's number is 8068. I'm going to use the Tarot Nefertari because I've been wanting to. It's one of those decks I have that I like rarely use. I kind of also have an itch to use the Rider Waite Smith Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck with the Chariot behind it and the moon behind that Chariot. But the 7-7 is interesting to me. So anyway, I'm going to give this a good shuffle. I'm going to pull the cards back to front. The Hermit is at the cut. No, sorry, Strength. This is given like checkup. Like when you go to the dentist and the dentist is like, say because there's no force that's being applied there. Anyway, as I was like titling that last Iced Coffee Chronicles, the Homebrew Barely Iced Coffee Chronicles. Oh, I guess you could say this is also barely iced. It had more ice when it was fresh. It really kind of sort of did read like somebody is like the HBIC. And the divine is just trying to make sure that they're HBICing where they need to be HBICing. Because it's like, and I was more so thinking about it today on my way to get the iced coffee, about how just because like someone is recognized by a particular person, organization, whatever, doesn't mean that the person or organization or whatever has the integrity to honor the HBIC that they recognize. You know what I mean? So anyway, but today, Aquarius season starts in like 5 hours, roughly, very roughly. I got a notification, Sun in Aquarius notification. Oh, look, it's the Sun. The Sun and the Nine of Swords. I got a Sun in Aquarius notification. And I was like, already? And then I looked on Time Nomad. Roughly 7 something p.m. Central, the Sun is going to transit into Aquarius. So it will officially begin today. We've had the first new moon of 2026. I mean, the first new moon of 2026 is always the last new moon of the, at that time, current lunar. More often than not, the first new moon of the year is the last new moon of the last lunar calendar because the first new moon is going to be a new moon in Capricorn, which means that the second new moon, more often than not, I think always, yeah, the second new moon will be a new moon in Aquarius, which commences the next lunar new year. Now, I was thinking, excuse me, sometimes you get 2 new moons in a sign, but if you get new moons in Aquarius or 2 new moons in Capricorn, the first one is going to happen in December. It has to, because it takes the moon roughly 28 days to go new to new to new to new, full to full to full to full. And if it can't take 28 days in Capricorn in January with the way the solar system is currently set up and the world outside the solar system, because those constellations don't exist within the solar system. Anyway, I'm going to pull the 8th. I have it shuffled. The 8th card from the top, the 6th card from the top, the card from the bottom, and then the 8th card after The eighth card from the bottom because the zero, yeah. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's the Three of Cups. Now, it's interesting that in this Three of Cups, there's only two characters. Usually it's three people depicted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Chariot. The card from the bottom, which is the Knight of Cups. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From the bottom, the title card. Cool. And it's in Italian, I'm assuming. Three cups, two characters. The Chariot with these two birds. She's kind of given Odin. With the Knight of Chalices heading in the same direction and them both going towards the title card. Knave of Swords at the bottom. That's walking in that same direction. Everything is moving in this direction. Everything is moving towards the title card. Besides, no, she's moving. Yeah, everything is moving forward. This character is looking back. She's looking back, but she's moving forward. Everything is moving forward towards this. It's giving the Great Attractor. Don't know if that is at. Is it the galactic center that's in Sagittarius? Like the center of the Milky Way galaxy? That's like a lot. I think I needed some ice. And this is water today, not the home brewed. Excuse me. It's given. Oh, today is also MLK Jr. Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's given. Follow the drinking gourd, which is interesting because when I was talking about how, at least with the way it's set up right now in tropical astrology, you're not going to have two new moons in Capricorn that both happen in January. With how the stars are set up and the calendar that we follow, it's not going to happen, right? If you have two new moons Capricorn, which I think we may have had last year, one of them will be in December, and then the second, if you have two full moons, one will be in December, the second will be in January. You don't have a double lunation in the same month, not for the same sign. And so it brought me back to there was a clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the different movements of Earth, right? The rotation, the wobble, this other minor wobble, the sun moving, and then the sun having a. And he talked about how right now the North Star is Polaris, but in the past, the North Star was something else. And so I just had the thought of the North Star moving. Follow the drinking gourd. Okay. which was I feel like Harriet Tubman came out yesterday. Not, I don't think I went live yesterday. Like the day before yesterday. In terms of like, I'm pretty sure I heard that she would dream. She was one of those dream navigators. Like something would happen in a dream, and then she would just know sort of how to do whatever accordingly. But I'm pretty sure the drinking gourd is like the Big Dipper constellation, and you would follow it in the south because it would take you north. Follow the drinking gourd. Song by Richie Havens, 1991. This is older than 1991. For the old man is coming just to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. What? Are you serious? Yeah, okay. Because it says the first, oh, it was first published in 1928. Okay. There's a difference between when it was first published and when folks were singing it. Yeah, it's another name for the Big Dipper asterism. Folklore has it that enslaved people in the United States used it as a point of reference so they would not get lost during their journey of escape to the north and to freedom. Something, I feel like I just saw freedom literally somewhere else. According to legend, a conductor on the Underground Railroad to guide some fugitive slaves. And many of the lyrics are simply cartographic directions. No pre 1910 reference to the song has been found. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. Oh, Old Man Hawkins. That's what I was like. Oh, Old Man Hawkins is out today because it's cold. Okay. The riverbank makes a mighty good road. Dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, pick, but travel on, follow the drinking gourd. And while the river ends between two hills, follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side, follow the drinking gourd. Something about where the great big river meets the little river. I feel like it wasn't this song. See, sometimes I'll do stuff and I'll be like, is this like, did I actually have this thought or did I actually see this thing recently? Which is why sometimes I go into it because I'm like, yeah, I've actually seen this. But I feel like I saw something about a song that held directions. Or like there was a song and like there was something encoded in the lyrics of the song. But the reason why, because again, like everyone is moving in the same direction in this. Every single card is moving in the direction of the title card. And even the card at the bottom of the deck, the Page of Swords, like this character here, moving forward. There we go. I'm like, how do I do this? And it's because the one in the front has a harp that you can barely see because of the glare. That gave it a musicality. And with the musicality, everything moving forward is follow the drinking gourd. Now, follow the drinking gourd is it brings to mind the phrase better the devil you know than the devil you don't. because it's like they took the Underground Railroad with the hope that they would find freedom, but these were people that had been enslaved like all their lives for generations, I'm sure at that point. And it's like they didn't know what freedom looked like. Right. So now we have this phrase, better the devil you know than the devil you don't, meaning sometimes it's easier to settle in the misery and everything that we don't want that we know than to take a chance on something unknown. And it also brings to mind phrases like, you can take the person out of whatever, but you can't take whatever out of the person. So, like, even when they make it to freedom, they don't necessarily like know what that means. Right? Like, how do you conduct yourself when you're free? Especially when it comes to dynamics of oppression and stuff like that. And it's so interesting that this year, I was talking to somebody. I can't remember if it was, I can't remember who. And they told, I think it was my journey buddy. I think. And oh, I need to send her a message. I feel like I've been like semi present for a minute now. But I think she said the new moon in Aquarius happens like the 17th. And I was like, that's like the day before Pisces season. Like it happens so late, which makes sense because we just had the new moon Capricorn yesterday. And we're already into um, Aquarius season, right? New moon happened at 1:53 p.m. So 24 plus what, say like 30 hours later, we go from a new moon to the next zodiac season. 7:47 p.m. I saw 7:47 p.m. yesterday because I was like, oh, 7-Eleven. I don't know. Anyway, and I feel like I don't know, something about that feels significant to me. It was just 2:28 on the clock. Like when I opened it up, it was 2:28. And it's my birthday. I see 2:28 all over the place. Oh. Whoa, is it a leap year? No, it's not. Well, it maybe. I don't think so. I feel like 2024. Yeah, 2024 was a leap year. I was like 26 not divisible by 4 is 24. Yeah, 4 times 6 is 24. Yeah, because 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. Oh, why did I go to my birthday? My solar return happens at 9:11 a.m. I was born. Well, maybe that makes sense because I was born at 8:59. So my solar return happens 12 minutes after my time of birth. I wanted to go to February 17th because that gives new moon at 6:02 a.m. So on February 17th at 6:02 a.m., roughly Central Time. So 6:02 at 9:54 a.m. on the 18th, the sun enters Pisces. So roughly 28 hours after the new moon Cancer. After the new moon Aquarius, 28 hours into the year of the fire horse, the sun transits into Pisces. Because I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I don't know. It's another thing that's interesting to me. Interesting as like, ooh, what does this mean? But not interesting in terms of like, I have any kind of backing for what this may mean. Um, happen in January or February. But again, I don't know. There's something interesting about it happening so late into Aquarius season that it's basically Pisces season. Now, the North Node is in Pisces, Saturn and Neptune. At that point, we'll still be in Pisces before they transit into Aries. No, they'll be in Aries. They'll be 0 degrees. Saturn and Neptune, 0 degrees of Aries. Chiron also in Aries. Uranus 27 degrees of Taurus, Jupiter retrograde 15 degrees of Cancer, South Node 8 degrees of Virgo. So that means North Node 8 degrees of Pisces. Pluto 4 degrees of Aquarius, Mars 19 degrees Aquarius. The Sun will be transiting Aquarius into Pisces. The moon will be 3 degrees, or the moon will be in early Pisces, literally just at the last degrees of Aquarius at the time of that new moon. Venus is 9 degrees Pisces. Mercury is 17 degrees of Pisces. So Venus will be conjuncting fairly tightly the North Node at the time that the Sun transits into Pisces. Because at this time, I mean, I guess I could go to the time. Um, this is the time of the new moon at 2:29 p.m. this time roughly on the 17th. North Node is 8 degrees 53 minutes. Pisces, Venus is 9 degrees 17 minutes. So not even like 20 apart. 24 minutes. Yeah. Not even a whole degree. Not even half a degree. Close enough to half a degree. Sun, Moon, North Node, Venus, and Mercury will all be in Pisces at the start of Pisces season with Pallas Athena, by the way. So yeah, let's just take it. So the moon will be between Venus and Mercury when that happens. Venus will be like a degree and a half away. So still fairly tight. Not as tight as half a degree when that new moon is happening. I don't know why that's so interesting to me. Sun, Pallas, North Node, Venus, the moon, and Mercury. Which is like all the personal planets besides Mars, which is still in Aquarius. All of the personal planets in Pisces, literally 28 hours after that, new moon Aquarius, the start of the year of the fire horse. Saturn and Neptune are out of Pisces. And I guess it's kind of interesting because we've seen the energy, because I don't have the deck. The energy, we still sort of, we saw because I didn't have it. I think I pulled up the image of the chariot and the vice versa. There was the energy of the chariot that like the way is paved as that chariot moves. So it's almost like Saturn and Neptune have been doing this dance in Pisces, doing all of this work in Pisces, even though that's like more so the later degrees than the earlier degrees where they've been like conjunct and stuff. But anyway, they were conjunct in actually no, because Neptune was already later in Pisces when Saturn was doing its primarily like Pisces transit. So it wasn't until Saturn was leaving Pisces that it would have been conjuncting Neptune. Anyway, it's almost like Saturn and Neptune were like paving this way in Pisces for now all of the personal planets besides Mars. Again, at the start of this year of the fire horse, because it happened so late in Aquarius season, literally 28 hours before the sun transit Aquarius and into Pisces, it's something like Saturn Neptune has been the chariot that's transited through Pisces to lay this trail before like the personal planets come in, right? Meaning, well, I don't know. Meaning is a strong word. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. It's just interesting. I was crushing cans like before, and I poked my hand, poked my palm. I feel like, well, maybe that's it. Maybe I don't have to read these cards individually. It's just like that's the vibe. And maybe, right, my history of anything is rusty because again, a lot of it is word of mouth, and Google and things on the internet, especially these days, girl. Anyway, as far as I know, and again, my history of tarot is by no means complete, and I won't even say accurate. But what's resonant and interesting here is tarot changed to incorporate more, I think in Italy, tarot changed to incorporate more religious symbology because the church was not having it. They were like, But, with the religious imagery, it was more palatable for the church because it was, religious imagery. And that's why you have like angels and stuff on the tarot now. But even outside of it, there's something like Neptune in Pisces is the energy of like song and divination and stuff like that. But it's like when Saturn and Neptune together in Pisces, Saturn adds a layer of meaning. But because they're still working together in Pisces, it's like covert meaning, I think you could say. Or it's like the song Follow the Drinking Gourd. They're like cartographic directions to help people escape to freedom. With the tarot, right, you have religious imagery on it to make it more appealing for like the Catholic Church at the time or whatever. But a lot of like the esotericism is still there, hidden behind the imagery. It's almost this not necessarily oblique. I don't even know if oblique is the word I want more so than like opaque. And I'm like so tempted to ask Google to define it, but it's fine. But again, in that one live, I forget what it was titled. Um, It was also recent with the Aquarius, the Seven of Realms and the Four of Realms, the Empress, and excuse me, whatever card came out with the Empress. The Empress and the Chariot, I think, and then Earth and Fire. There was that energy. I think that was that not the one? There's been a reading recently where it was like there are things, I'm pretty sure that was the one. There are things that are already available. Yeah, that was the one. Like there are assets that are available, but there was no announcement that it was like released. It's already coded into the program, but what hasn't been coded is the way to access it, right? And so Saturn, Neptune, Piscean conjunction, where it's like there's the song and there's all of this stuff, but Saturn incorporates like a deeper layer of meaning that is intention. It's like for the folks who like know, they know, and they'll be able to engage with it deeper. And for the folks that don't know, it's just like a really catchy song, or it's just like something like pretty cards or images, or like, it's some kind of paraphernalia for whatever. But it's like that deeper layer of meaning. And again, with the imagery of like a North Star, it's like there's this, it reads as, you can say a shooting star, but it's like Apollo's chariot blazing across the sky. But apparently everybody can't see it. It's like the early adopters of something will see that and will follow that. And it's the early adopters of the thing that pave the trail for wider consumption. And again, and see, the thing I love about the Knight of Cups is it's the knight that follows his heart, his intuition. 3 plus 7 is 10, which is 2026, right? The only numbers on the table, 3 and 7, because the knight and the title card aren't associated with the number. Even the page at the bottom of the deck isn't associated with a number. You could say it's the 12th, and then that just be Piscean energy. And it's the Knight of Cups, which is also Piscean energy, mutable water. I feel like I should. I mean, I might as well. Right? I mean, it's already had its debut on the channel, so why not? It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Let's get a African American tarot. That's fine. I need to go out there anyway to storage. I'm almost of a mind to go and get the rest of my cards, but it just like it's so many. And then it's like, where would I put them? I know where they could go. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. The 3 of coins at the bottom of the deck. I feel like in this deck, there's so much like bow or bow and arrow or arrow um symbolism. Let's get one of these. here's an here's another one. Bottom of is the Queen of Wands. There's something in this Queen of Wands that's gotten the attention of everyone, the snake, the cat, and the queen. And it's like because the trees are bent this way, it's almost like something blew through like really quickly with enough force to like bend the trees, and they're like looking at it. It's caught their attention. Now it's interesting. I mean, I guess as I set the cards over here, because the bottom of the deck, even here, because so right, and because the bottom of the deck is off to the left, the cards I'm reading is at the right. The title card is in between them. So the cards, the 8068, because again, I built it. I guess it wouldn't matter how. I guess if I would have built it from the top to the bottom, it would have been the eighth card from the top, and then the bottom, and then the sixth and the eighth from the bottom. But since I built it from the ones digit to the thousands place, it came out this way. There's this movement happening to the center, and then there's like the page and the Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck are looking there. Everything is looking here. I say it's interesting because I was literally just like, I've been seeing like the bow and arrow, especially in this deck, so much. What is this? The Hermit. Hold up. Did I get tripped up? No. This is an 11 strength. Okay. So strength and justice. It's either 8 and 11 or 11 and 8. With my fractured knowledge of tarot, I like to say or think this is justice 8, strength 11, and a Rider Waite Smith base is strength 8, justice 11. But again, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is 11. I don't know why I was reading it as 9, but is this justice or is this strength? It's the same. Oh, look, there it is. In between the Two of Wands and the Five of Wands. So smack dab in the middle of the Seven of Wands, which we've has been a thing. But again, it's like the bow and arrow. And last time it was a hunter god that was also associated, a god of hunting and initiations. Well, here's an 1111. Anyway, it's fun. Like as I mentioned it literally came out. Also, there's the Six of Swords. With that HBICC energy. Like this darkness is like 8 of swords, but with 6 swords. The thing about the HBICC was judgment, right? And the metaphor was that of everything nuclear, right? Some of the people in the project had the foresight. They made the call of like, no, like just because we can doesn't mean we should, and this is something we shouldn't do. But because we did, everything associated with that is forever like marred. Now, you could say we are aware of its destructive potential, which is a good thing. Because if it's almost like if we would have used it for power, because, Chernobyl was a thing, if plants had been established all over the place and then they all went critical, that wouldn't have necessarily been good either. So it's like it's good to have that knowledge and awareness, but there's something about, you could say, the power of the mind. It's interesting that it's the power of the mind because the mind doesn't hold any power. It's like the mind simultaneously holds immense power and no power at all. All of the power of the mind is imagined, but imagination forms our reality, right? That's literally our perspective. So it's like on an absolute scale, an individual mind holds no power, but on a personal scale, the mind is the most powerful thing there is, right? Like just because we think that something is whatever, in our world, in our reality, it will occupy that position. But in grand totality, if it's not anything, it will continue to be nothing. If it's inconsequential, it will continue to be inconsequential. But to us, if it's whatever, it will hold that position. Basically, I say all this because there's something about, I don't know if it's like early exposure. I don't know if it's like a first impression. Because what was her name? Was it Dr. What was her? Was it her name Trillion? There was like a TED Talk. Dr. Trillion TED Talk. Basically, that was like kind of her thing. I watched that years ago. Overcoming the fear of love. I don't think this was her TED Talk though. Wait, was it actually? I get ads in Spanish. I get ads in all kinds of different languages. Dr. Trillion Small. Oh my gosh, really?
Recently, I was watching a movie by Tyler Perry, and one of the main characters was a single mother.
It may have been this TED Talk. It's so funny her last name is Small because everything that's been on my feed, not everything. Of course, like if y'all know Kirsty and Desmond, they are getting divorced. I was like, oh gosh, I was unaware. I haven't seen them in a minute, but it's on my socials. And then I recently saw that she's taken her last name of Small, and here's Dr. Trillion Small. So I was like, oh, interesting. Anyway, that may have been the TED Talk, but what I recall is like there was a first experience she had with something that was traumatizing and it caused her to avoid whatever. Then after some time and with some convincing, she had another experience and she like loved it. This is all working off of recollection. But the thing is, it's the power of the first exposure, it's the power of a first experience, it's a power of a first impression, you could say. But it's like, I don't know, there's something about like really going into something with an open mind. I feel like if just like going into something with an open mind is kind of an understatement. It's more so going into something expecting the best. Because with optimism, even if we encounter challenge, we can keep going until we find the brighter thing, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's just something like we would do ourselves a great disservice to go into something with our viewpoint tainted. I've never seen. But the Six of Swords is a card of like moving on to calmer waters, right? So this is like especially not bringing the baggage of the past with you as you move forward because it's trapped, much like the Eight of Swords. It doesn't recreate out of habit what it's leaving behind. Now, is this a strength or is this justice? This is justice. Law, tribe, ethnic people, the God of justice is here. In light, impartial judgment, law and order, natural law, evening the score, restoration of balance, shadow, injustice, hypocritical behavior, cowardice, and narrow mindedness. The last one is always, I don't know, I love it. So, restoration of balance. And in the Diceology, we got a displacement replaced. And I feel like it was a displacement replaced and another card that was like similar, correcting what has been misused or something like that. Also, when this first, I've been seeing so many articles that's been like scientists now believe that we are in like where our solar system is relatively unique compared to the wider cosmos. Like we exist kind of in a void or like this warm spot question. I've seen it so many different ways. Edge of Eternities. Anyway, who's this Queen of Wands? I guess I could have looked at the Six of Swords too. I mean, not that I necessarily need to. Pentacles, chalices, wands, Queen of Wands, Mami Wata, Spirit of Desire, Charm, Amiability, Magnetism, Friend, Companion of Adventure, Elegance, and Dignity. Six of Swords, Ngunza Traps, Death, and Daniel Hale Williams. Reasoning, curiosity, experimentation, travel, move to another place, experience. Especially that experimentation with the companion of adventure. Nguza traps death. I feel like if Ngunza traps death, we should. No, it's fine. We no. I was like, let's go. No. Just the energy of like Ngunza. But again, that plays into how the card is presented. Where it's very it's like assume the best because the worst, quote unquote. Not only is it and will it be behind you, but it's trapped. And so the only way it can influence us is if we were to approach it because it cannot approach us. Like it can try to get our attention in some way. Cause I'm thinking like the Kermit the Frog meme with like there's Kermit and then the dark side Kermit, I don't know. And they're like face to face. But it can't proceed. And there's a lot, all of these cards depict movement. The Three of Cups, the Chariot, and the Knight of Cups. I mean, low hanging fruit with the Three of Cups immediately was like the third cup is a cup in the spirit, right? Usually in the Three of Cups, there are three cups and three people. There's a person associated with each cup. Here, like, there's an extra cup, and it's the cup that you would offer to something else that would in the spirit. Excuse me. The checkup of this strength, though, La Forza. Oh, yeah, strength. The force. Again, there's something. Maybe that's just like it won't be. It's not that it won't be easy. You could say it's all, maybe it's an energy of like the transit itself is a test of strength, but a testament to your strength. And I guess if it wasn't a testament to your strength, it wouldn't be, if there weren't some testing element, it wouldn't be a testament. Otherwise, it'd just be whatever, right? There was a reading where the metaphor of like the spiritually advanced body came through. And it's funny because I'm like, there's a sale on Audible right now where it's like 99 cents for 3 months or whatever. And I'm missing like two of the audiobooks in the series. So I was like, for 99 cents, I'll just collect them. And I was thinking about restarting that series. In that series, once their bodies advance to a certain point, they don't need to breathe anymore. Right. And so one of the first things they do when they reach that point is train their bodies to accept that fact. Because if they don't train their bodies to accept that fact and they're engaged in battle or combat, someone could use that against them. Because if they're not used to it, the body will still like freak out. Right. The mind knows. One second. Oh, goodness. Sorry. All right, I'm back. That 6 hour time difference. Oof. That was my friend, my buddy. Anyway, where was I? What was I? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So in the story, once their bodies reach a certain point, they don't need to breathe anymore. And so it's something that the mind knows, but the body hasn't learned yet. And so they go through the process. And like when one person, because there's one character that because of the circumstances of his rebirth, his body is a lot more advanced than other people's body. Like he starts with a body that the other bodies are going into. And so he's made aware that they're like, yeah, you don't even need to breathe. But since you're used to breathing, like your body just continues to do it. And so after some time, he trains his body. He actually uses that fact against some people. Anyway, when it came out in the cards, it was like there's this space that like there's no oxygen in the space. And so one of the barriers of entry is to have a sufficiently advanced body because if you need to breathe and there's no oxygen in the space, you're going to suffocate. And so that was like a natural sort of defense, right? And that testament of strength, test of strength, energy is here too. And it's because like that's like this strength check is happening. Death has been trapped. The worst is behind you, and it's much better in the north than it is in the south. It doesn't mean it won't come with challenge, because the challenge of adaptation itself can be challenging. And it's almost like the two footprints in the sand, but it's like the one like there were two footprints and then there's like one set of footprints, and that's like when he capital H he carried me, but instead of him capital H carrying you, it's you being the person that's still walking but knowing that he is still there, capital H he is still there walking with you. Which is interesting because of the footprints and soul prints thing before, right? At that point, because of that integration, like instead of walking beside you, he is walking like within you because he is now like a part of you, integrated into you, capital H. What's also interesting though is with how these are illustrated, you don't actually see the horses in the chariot, but you see the horse before the chariot. And because of the birds, I mean, they're the birds are in opposite directions. But the image that came to mind is the animals are usually the first to respond to something, right? And so the birds will move as like the deer and everything else is moving. This is an energy that's moving with those birds. So again, it's like it's in that first wave. And that's why cardinal energy exists for those of us who need someone to go before. You know what I mean? Especially like fixed energy. Not that, just like in general, before something is fixed, it must have a beginning. So again, because like the lunar new year always happens before the solar new year, right? If you consider spring, Aries season to be like the solar new year. The lunar new year always happens before, but the moon precedes the sun. That which is subtle and unseen and difficult to grasp precedes that which is concrete and visible and easily acceptable because it is so seen, right? And the calendar new year is interesting because at the calendar, you sort of have everything else to look ahead to look forward to, right? The calendar new year happens before the lunar new year and the solar new year. You could say, though, that it happens like at the end of the lunar new year and towards the end of a solar new year. But at that time, that's when folks start looking ahead, right? The new year really starts at whatever point folks are like, but you have that to be able to look ahead to. So before the moon even does its thing, you have the opportunity to try to sow seeds or to be aware and try to navigate in a certain direction. Or just like again, be aware of more and more perspectives to as the lunar new year happens, then whatever, and then as the solar new year happens, then even more whatever. Right. It's windows to look ahead and try to align in whatever way. Anyway. It's like it's a testament to your strength to be able to navigate to and through this title card energy to make it to the other side. And again, it's almost like when did that sentiment sort of begin? I mean, I'm sure it existed back then. I'm sure there were plenty of people who preferred their shackles over the risk of not having anything different or better or surviving the transit, right? And I don't necessarily know if there is a threshold, like a universal threshold, at which it's like, yeah, I gotta go to the restroom. Just a muted fun. You didn't miss anything. So, again, like death has been trapped. And going back to even at the end of the HBICC, it was like you can glow, you can take yourself, you can distract yourself from whatever it is you're doing to go and make a run the block, spin the block a few times, driving your new whatever, so everyone sees, like, hey, I made it. But what came to mind is I was watching the show, right? And there's this like grisly, gruesome war that happens over like 18 days. And at the end, the person who perpetrated it, who like refused to accept peace under the guise of, it's like under the guise of, but also because of his ego, his pride, his birthright. He was like, do you think that after all of the humiliation and embarrassment they've suffered, that they would have accepted peace? Like, do you think that after the vows that they made, because of the humiliation and embarrassment that they suffered, that they would have accepted peace? And of course, in the story, you don't know because that's not how it played out. But maybe that's one of the questions that is being posed to us in a way. Or it's just something that, like, we can make peace within ourselves. We can reach resolution within ourselves with whatever help we need before we get to a certain point, so that it doesn't have to take away from what it is that we have yet to experience. Right. And then again, there is like the natural reaction of the body. I didn't even catch that last time. Excuse me. Like, it was looking for green, and then the metaphor of like, the job, the company, whatever. But also green is earth, right? On earth as it is in heaven. But more so than on earth as it is in heaven within us. Anyway, again, like he walks within us. So wherever we go, he goes. Capital H, he. Cool. And it is almost giving, because like the more I look at this Queen of Wands and Strength card, it's almost given very like, oh, we haven't seen humans in a long time type energy, because of all that is like sacrificed and all that is given up to make this journey. And we live in a world where it's not easy, because it's like either we won't be attached to the past and to flaunting how justice has played out for us despite others. It's like even if we don't get caught up in that, we can get caught up in the material of the new experience. So right, let's say that we're not really a materialistic person, but then in the presence of an abundance of resources, maybe we become more materialistic, and abundance devolves into opulence. And then again, like we sort of lose substance over like style. And it's not that something can't be stylish and of substance. It's just like there are so many pitfalls that one could fall into that takes them out of being in the moment. But not only being in the moment, but continuing to. Because if we're in a moment and we stay in that moment, time keeps moving. So eventually that moment will become the past. That's how people get stuck in the past. One way, how some get stuck in the past. I almost want to pull, sure, why not? I think the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards is the only deck I have that has an arrow in it. So we'll do that, and then I will end this. My intention is a strong word. Hope is also a strong word. I think it would be great to be able to do one of these, especially now that I'm like coming live more often for however long I'm doing it. If I could do one of these and it'd be like 20 minutes, but also it's fine. Also, it's fine. It's fine. Excuse me. Can you hear Chino shaking? Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake that collar. Many paths in the hummingbird. All right. I'm not necessarily looking for a flipper. Just going to give this 2 more. I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to look for the arrow. There we go. Cut. Bottom of the deck is the rattle. We saw the rattle recently. The rattle, the corn, and water. So big, big, big. I mean, there is a rainmaker, but like the rattle is the tool of the rainmaker. So shake the rainmaker, bring the water to the corn. Cool. I'm looking for the arrow. The arrow. I'm looking for the arrow. Before and after the arrow. Excuse me. That's interesting. Both the mystical shaman and the wild woman are looking to the wind. In a way. Let's set that there. I'm going to keep going. That's the staff. But I'm looking for the arrow. The arrow. I'm looking for the arrow. I'm looking for the arrow. Arrow. I'm looking for the arrow. There's the rainmaker with the sun and something else. Excuse me, but I'm looking for the arrow. Yes, I'm looking for the arrow. I'm looking for the arrow. Yes, it's not muted. Looking for the arrow. Man, the arrow's like at the top of the deck. I'm like, I'm seeing all these cards, and I'm like, the arrow? Okay, the arrow is in between Pachamama and the lower world, which is interesting. We've seen Pachamama, Earth, and what, Ghost Dance recently? Here's the mystical shaman, the wind, and the wild woman. 38, 63, 62. Oh, 63, 62, 62, 63. I don't know. It just like caught my attention as I was shuffling through. Pachamama, the arrow, and the lower world. I'll do it like this. 43, 31. Where's the 2? And it's something like I don't know, something about the colors around this arrow and the hair of Pachamama. Like, especially in here. Shadow. But it's giving like part of the fletching of this arrow is from like Pachamama. The fact that it's with the lower world is interesting. But again, maybe it's that energy of there's divine intervention, but then there's also divine non interference, right? Yeah, okay. There's divine intervention and then there's divine non interference. Um, and um, this arrow, it's like the arrow gets sent to the lower world, but in the lower world, there's a pact of non interference. So that's why in like song or in imagery or something else, something has to be codified. Because if it were made plain, then it could be construed as interference. And if it's construed as interference, it opens up the gates for more interference, for like for the kind of interference that you don't want, right? And you could say that there's already interference that we don't want, but a lot of that interference that we don't want comes from people, or it comes from our perspective and judgment and reaction to other people. And it's almost like if we want an experience that's more than just certain principalities or energies playing out. So I don't know, it's like everything comes at a cost type energy. And when it's paid by someone else, then it's played by someone else. But again, it's like that non interference. And there's a difference between interference and intervention. What the difference is, I don't know. It's beyond the scope of this. We'll say that. And so if death is trapped, does that mean that life is trapped as well? Or it's like there's some other side of death that also has to be trapped if death is trapped. Because if it were to move, then death could move. So maybe the best that can be done by us is a non interference agreement. And it would almost be so or as someone becomes their own. Excuse cool. I would almost ask, like, did this go long? Have I gone too far? Maybe that non interference is important to understand. And it's almost like blank canvas energy. This is blank canvas energy. And so it's like a blank canvas, a clean slate, a new beginning. But we still have the context of our past. We still have the context of history. And the players, some of the players are the same. again, because death is trapped, they don't necessarily have the power and or authority to move in the ways that they used to move. But sometimes seeing the face of death itself is enough. Like death doesn't have to move if by just showing its face, it can evoke a reaction from us. Cool. Take it as it resonates if it resonates, and if it don't resonate, don't take it. Discern as you will. Hopefully, you discern as you must, as you need. I don't know. Anyway, is that it? I think so. And there is a whole crowd back here. But again, it feels like the crowd back here is that energy of like someone has to be the first. And there are those who are among the firsts, plural. Maybe. What deck would I use though? Do I have a deck on theme? Kinda. There's another deck that's in storage. Do I only need one card? If because I want to ask, like, if death is trapped, then what is also trapped? I feel like there are things that accompany death that are trapped, but then there are things that are the opposite of death that are also trapped. Because death, like transformation, also accompanies death. But like the transformations that we don't initiate or instigate in particular. Or it's almost like so if you're typing something, like let's say there's a box that you type into. Sometimes, usually, when you click into that box, it'll select all of the text in that box. So as you begin typing, it automatically overwrites what was already there. However, sometimes it doesn't. And so you'll have to like manually delete everything that's there as you begin to type, unless you want it to still be there. But like because death is trapped, that thing that automatically 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the timer. Anyway, was it worth a second? And now it's the sequence more like 10 seconds. It's like if death is trapped, then the energy that automatically deletes what was already there as something new comes along is also trapped. Because that is a function of death, and death is trapped. So it's not necessarily be careful what you wish for, but it's more so to understand beyond the scope of things that we don't want or desire that are trapped, the things that we don't like that are at a pause. It's to also realize that there may be some beneficial things that are also paused, right? Like, let's say, for example, there's someone in someone's life that is overbearing. And because they're overbearing, as someone starts something new, they distance themselves from that person, right? But let's say it's the overbearing nature of that person that gets them to consider things or to make someone aware of things that they aren't necessarily aware of. And as they're entering something new, it's a precaution to not have a critical voice there to discourage them. But again, it's like in the absence of that voice, now there are things that the individual has to be aware of. right? Like if it was the overbearing person that always made sure you had everything you need, like did you double check, triple check? Did you consider this? Do you have this? Do you have these other things? Well, what are you going to do if this doesn't? Or what are you going to do if that doesn't? And so again, it's like there's a positive that critical overbearing voice also contributes, but at the time of the decision being made to distance oneself from that voice, you wouldn't necessarily know. And again, it's just a metaphor of this. If death is trapped, there are other things that are also trapped with that voice. But again, like you're strong enough to go through, make it, whatever. That is almost. Am I gonna? Sure, why not? We're doing everything else. This is very stankness in the Lafruma. It's very stankness Lafruma. Scent tested. You could say it's more Bifrost than Stankness. Because to me, Bifrost like passes the test that Stankness poses. But I'm gonna look for Stankness. The cards read like you have passed the test. You are strong enough. Your body may still have to adjust to whatever is next or new, but you are perfectly capable of surviving in this space where oxygen. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is Hail Weathering with Leaf Shade, Merge, and B, and then Needle Stitch. 39 and 48. Both of these are 12. 9, 12, 12. And then at Burston, Burst Free 11. 48, 12, 39, 12. You have one of merging and one of stitching. And then a weathering here. Cool. Looking for Stankness. Scent tested. It's right there. Oh my gosh. LOL. LOL. Remember how I said Bifrost would be passing the test if Stankness is the test? It's literally before Stankness. Stankness is in between Resistance Willful Onwilla and Bifrost Journey Home Humfereld or Hemfereld. And it's interesting how Onwilla Stankness are both purple, and then there's purple in the Bifrost. We saw this Bifrost recently with the Gare and whatever else, and that yellow energy was what like drops down. Kin was there. So because of this, there's like a pivot here. Vein is a medicine here. Let me find it. What does it look like? I'm pretty sure I have the image in my head. Vein is a medicine here because it feels like a pivot may be necessary. Or it's not. It's the path is not necessarily unidirectional or straight. Right. So Vein incorporates the flexibility that may be needed. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't know what it looks like because I've seen the card that I thought it might be. Oh, it's this one. Okay. It's in between Gathering Dock, Gatorung, and Static Needs, 64 and 54, 12. Okay. We see the yellow indicator and the static needs, the whispers of Lord Ganesh, in the Queen. What's it? Couldn't have been the Queen of Wands, the High Priestess that came out with that Nine of Cups for that Nine of Cups. Like, even though we're pivoting, doesn't necessarily mean that our needs have changed because the needs are static. The needs remain the same. We're pivoting so we can continue to gather whatever it is that we are gathering slash that we need, right? So it's very like Pac-Man. If you think Pac-Man does all kinds of twists and turns and pivots, but it's always to collect more and more and more of those pellets or whatever they are, right? And sometimes you make a pivot to avoid one of the ghosts. And it feels like you don't even necessarily have to intentionally pivot to avoid a ghost if you were to just continue as you need. It's like your spiritual GPS will reroute you around them. And that willful resistance, like it doesn't always have to be like a stubbornness that keeps us sort of like, it doesn't have to be resistance to, it can be resilience, right? It doesn't have to be obstinance. It can be resilience. And again, like strength tested, strength approved. Literally, the reason why I picked this, the reason why I went for scent tested is because of this energy. That strength can, that like that willfulness can be used to motivate yourself when things are like tough or when things are particularly unclear or when you've like pivoted, or if you've been running straight for a while and you need to pivot, like that willfulness can be your strength to keep going. Again, it can be resilience. It doesn't have to be resistance. And it's that resilience that'll carry you home. Like the journey home, again, because the needs are static, if you keep in your mind, heart, body, and soul that it's a journey home, no matter how many twists and turns you make, you'll always be going in that direction. It's when we need to, like, um, not flossing on the haters. When we need to floss on the haters and when we need more and more and more and more, like when we go greedy or whatever, and when that outweighs our need to go home or to continue going home, that's when we sidetrack and we get lost in a maze of like the city or whatever. So that's like this a double-edged nature of fame. Like just like we need that flexibility to stay on the path that's nonlinear, it can also work against us if our desire or need for something else sort of overcomes whatever. So anyway, cool. Home is where the Pachamama is. So yeah, there you go. ICC 8068. I think that's it. Yeah, that's sufficient. That is sufficient. Death is trapped, not necessarily defeated, and also not necessarily immobilized, right? Like the forward procession of death is blocked, but like behind death is wide open. So if we were to backtrack, like if we were to go behind death, there would be no protection to stop death from reaching us. Cool. That's a video game, right? Oh, that's where you find the Gorons. In which game in particular? Maybe they use similar music. He actually kind of stood out to me yesterday. Do 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 do. There's a volcano where the Gorons live. Usually, I feel like there's a name of that mountain, but I can't recall right now. And I wonder if, because again, it's that energy of like, because people kept asking him, like, why can't you just accept the offer of peace? Why are you choosing war? Why are you choosing war? And the reason why he chose war, there again, there were several reasons. One of the reasons why he chose war is because he didn't trust the opposition's ability to accept the peace. And it was because of the vows they made and the humiliation that they suffered. So that's why it was perpetuated. It's like that's why it had to end as like messily as it did. And of course, like it never played out that way. So we don't know if a piece would have been able to. I feel like yes. And it's again, it's very the whimsy of fate, right? Because of the vows that were made, it's the whimsy of fate, right? Because in the same way there was concern over whether or not a piece would be able to be accepted because of the vows that were made. One of the characters made a vow that if anyone were to disrespect his bow, that he would like separate their head from their shoulders. And one of the people that disrespected his bow was his elder brother. And so he made a move against his elder brother because of a vow he had, but he was stopped. And he said, he was like, you know, what you did, the disrespect you showed your elder brother was essentially killing him. And the disrespect you showed for yourself, he was like, your vow was honored in that. You don't have to take it any further. So, yes, there are ways to, as grisly of a vow as one may make, there are ways to not have it play out necessarily in the way that they were intended when they were made. And the metaphor more so being sort of like almost literally, because we live in a time, like every time, of great injustice perpetuated against some. It's like, is there a way for peace to be had? Or is there a way to come about peace that isn't as grisly as the injustices as some have suffered? And the answer in the cards is yes. But the answer, but there also like isn't a path. It's just like you are strong enough to navigate the situation in a way that you don't need a bloody revolution to make up for what cannot be made up for. Like, there is a way of peace. There is a way of lesser bloodshed and violence. But it takes the truly strong to find it. And again, that's part of that energy why it's like it's important to get like resolution now within oneself. It could be beneficial to get resolution now within oneself before someone gets to a certain point, because who's to say it won't keep the cycle turning, right? And in that vein, sometimes if we are too proud with things that are like God given, we will be stripped of those things. And then we will be humbled before the very ones that we try to humble. And then it's this whole thing that didn't even necessarily have to be, right? And that's a whole thing. Ten of Cups with strength. I kind of love Ten of Cups and strength because, again, it's that static needs of like remembering what's important. Like, what's more important, your happiness or something else? But I think that's a facet of the Chariot that I didn't read. It's the willfulness of the Chariot. It is the will of the Chariot that puts those two seemingly opposing forces in alignment and keeps them moving forward. Cool. All right, final Tarot Nefertari card, please. 2 hours later. I'm like thinking of like dishes I could make. Anyway, it's fine. They made noise, so I'm gonna look at them. Who is it? Who is it? The Empress and the Queen of Pentacles. We have Empress energy and pre-Empress energy. Is this a rite of secession? It's like there's some kind of ceremony that the Queen of Pentacles is participating in before she is, or as she is sworn in as the new Empress. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Pentacles. Again, more so giving, I don't know, it's giving rites, rituals, formal processes. With the Two of Wands at the cut again. It's the crowning of a new Empress. And we saw that Queen of Coins. She's actually in the thumbnail of that video. Yeah, the Queen of Coins came out when the Empress, the Chariot, Earth, Fire, Aquarius, Seven of Realms, and Four Realms came out. All right, final Tarot Nefertari. And I feel like for a more masculine energy, it's like, because again, it's the strength. Like you've already proven that you're strong enough in doing whatever you're doing, the way that you're doing it, like the way you're navigating in and of itself proves that you're strong enough. Like it's a testament to your strength, and it wouldn't be a testament if it wasn't testing or trying. And so there's no need to go and flaunt your strength or whatever. There's a temptation to, and again, it's easier to associate the temptation to flaunt one's strength to a masculine energy or like the masculine side of energy. Like it doesn't have to be a dude. like the energy of like, but it's like, who are you proving yourself to? If you know what I mean? I don't know why that just came to mind. Cool. We just got a smooth flip. It was so buttery. And it's the world. El mundo, le monde, German. In the world, we see the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus. We see both eyes. Also, no. Is that Geb and Newt? Newt of the sky, Geb of the earth. What I'm looking at is as the light moves, you can see the different spheres of the world, right? Bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles, which has a similar energy. The Chariot is under the Four of Pentacles. You see how they like both? There's something there. Anyway, take it as you will. Oh, I think that came out with the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Earth. It's a realization that I had that came to me after the live, and then I forgot to. There's a card still in the box. Who is it? Who is it? The Six of Swords. So, just like I was sort of mentioning how when we make the choice and decision to distance ourselves from something or someone for whatever reason, we aren't always mindful of the positive that they bring to or the progressive motive forces that they inspire. Sometimes we are mindful and it's still the cons outweigh the pros here. But it's like the Six of Swords still being in the box is like that energy is trapping death right now. Sometimes our intervention is like things not being worse than they are. And I think sometimes it's almost like if we don't feel like the divine, our spirit moving things forward, we may like assume that we're like abandoned or that spirit isn't like helping us. Sometimes, like again, those six swords holding back death, that is spirit being there. Like the fact that things aren't like, you know, have it like boiled over. The fact that as like maddening as things are, the fact that things aren't more chaotic is like, whatever. Anyway, the Six of Swords was there in the box. It's preoccupied, which is why the Chariot is here. Right? There are some times where we are the ones that move things forward, or where the divine works to fulfill our desires. right? And so that's why with static needs, if we keep our eyes on what's important, and again, like that's also why it's important to, I don't know, just be focused on what actually matters. Right? Because let's say that the divine is like, you, if you could have any wish granted, what wish would it be? It would be very prudent to be mindful of where the divine stands and how it stands. Right. So if in that moment of like, oh, I can have any wish granted, well, like I want to floss on the haters or every single person that told me I wasn't gonna make it or whatever. I wish that they were whatever. And it's like on one hand, the divine is like, really? Like if you can get one wish, anything you want, you would wish for them. But beyond that, it's almost like there are certain ways that the divine doesn't move. And so it's almost like it's possible to waste a wish because it's like the divine's like, oh no, like no, that's not, but it's already been wished for. So it's like negated. Um type of energy. But again, that's like why we stay with the mind focused on the future and where we want, what we really desire. To not be distracted by certain things. But yeah, that's why the chariot is there. Because it's something that we move forward. The energy, it's almost like there is still air. Like the winds have steeled, but with enough will, someone can continue moving forward regardless. Again, you can if it resonates for you. You pass the strength check. You're strong enough to pull the chariot, even if the horses quit, even if the horses are on like their mandated break. The Three of Pentacles again. I don't think I actually read this the first time it came out, though. Bottom of the deck is Justice. They're coming out together. The Three of Pentacles and Justice. Chalices. Pentacles. This is Age? God of hunting, but it says good of hunting. And Benjamin Banneker. Mastery of an art, great ability, skill, craft, specialization, and celebrity. Is this celebrity like celebrity? Or is this celebrity like, I mean, it has to be celebrity like celebrity. And not celebrity like quickness of speed? Because that's like celerity, not celebrity, right? Celebrity etymology. Interesting. Okay. So the word celebrity comes from Latin celebritas, fame, multitude, and celebere, frequented populace, evolving from meaning a solemn rite to fame and renown. And finally, to a famous person, reflecting a shift from communal renown to modern media driven fame. That solemn rite is interesting, though, especially with like the rites and rituals when it came to the secession of the Queen of Pentacles becoming the Empress. 14th century, it referred to a solemn rite or ceremony. And even here, because it goes from like this Three of Pentacles energy to justice. It's almost like in justice, there's a recognition of one's ability. And it did say good. I think it was a typo. It goes from like good at hunting to God of hunting. Hey, we takes the typos when it makes sense. We're flexible, obviously. And it's almost like, again, like there are things that are like illegal now that weren't illegal in the past, and it's because of work. It's not because all of a sudden one day everyone like grew a conscience and got together and was like, hey, let's stop doing this. Hopefully that can be the case. There's always a time to set a precedent. If we live in unprecedented times, hey, maybe it's time to set new precedents. You know what I mean? So let's go for that bloodless revolution. I mean, yeah. But again, it's a question. Because one has the potential to keep the cycle turning. And that's the thing about people in general. Again, like I'm watching and it plays out IRL. It's like there are people who wrong other people, who commit the first wrong, we'll say. And then there are people who retaliate, and then it's like it's weird to me. It's like if you transgress against someone, you are inviting the energy. It's like they will respond. And it's like, how are you upset that someone responded to what like you did in the first place? And now you have to respond because like you it's again it's a never ending cycle. And at that point, it kind of sort of doesn't matter who started it because it's just gonna be back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Anyway. Was that the witness? That is the witness. The witness and the rattle. That's what gives the rattle its power. It's the witness. The rattle is tied to a witness or tied to an agreement with the witness. Right? She's giving, again, the drums blessed by Joaquin. So it's not the power of the drummer and it's not the power of the drum that settles a spirit. It's the agreement made with Joaquin. So it's the power of Joaquin through the drum. Like the drum is the medium to access that power. So if it comes to a rainmaker with the rattle, it's not the power of the rattle or the power of the rainmaker that causes the rains to fall. It's an agreement with the power that makes it rain that is called upon when the rainmaker shakes the rattle. And it's the witness that like informs, right? It's almost like if a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. Without the witness, it's no. So you can shake the rattle all you want. If it's not witnessed, it won't do anything. Magic and the beloved. That's for the cases and scenarios where it's not the rattle, it's not the rainmaker, it's an agreement with that when the rattle is shaken, it will rain, or when it's shaken by the rainmaker, it will rain. But it's the power ultimately still lies in, right? The beloved medicine wheel. Okay, I thought it was going to be the magic medicine person, but I didn't read it all. Final card from the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. Ooh, that was a smooth flip. It's the Mystical Shaman. Number 38, which is an 11. Bottom of the deck is Beauty Way, which is 4. See, Beauty Way and the Mystical Shaman. The giveaway is behind the Beauty Way. This is a God-given gift. Again, with magic in the beloved, that that what? Where did you just go? The Mystical Shaman is mystical. See, but I feel like there's a difference. Apparently, is it semantic? There's a difference between when a tool is blessed and when a person is blessed. Because it's like when a person is blessed, they are their own witness. Or right with the two footprints that walk in the sand and then there's only one set of footprints, it's because he is walking within you, capital H. He is walking within you. And when he is walking within you, he always bears witness. But if he was walking beside you and then he is absent for whatever reason, when it's the tool, then someone has to witness the tool being used. He may be there, he may not be. Right? But when someone is blessed, it's like they serve as both the tool and the witness. Right? That's beat away and give away. It's given away to them. I've never seen this before. I don't think so. There's a spirit here. Or maybe that just confirms, like the witness is within. You see right there, the countenance of a face? Like here's the Mystical Shaman, and then there, and it's on the breath because he's breathing out. And as he's breathing out, there's the countenance of that face. Yeah, it's the breath, girl. You know what I mean? He is within the Mystical Shaman, and you see it on his breath. Capital H. Now the phrase greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world comes to mind. I don't know, but they also say with great power comes great responsibility. Cool. I mean, this is fresh off that HBICC energy. I see there are sometimes because I had the thought today. I had the thought earlier. I was like, I wish I could read more on the HBICC. You know what I mean? But at the same time, these are like general. Not only are they general and collective, but I am a respecter of the sacred. And there are some times when, as a respecter of the sacred, there are certain things that I don't dive into. And it's not to say that anyone who does or would doesn't respect it. It's not to say that at all. It's not my place. It's not my place, nor is it my desire because of especially such a public forum to dive into that or to make it plain, to make it clear, right? If it happens in between words and in between metaphors and in the images, again, with that, the song that conveys deeper meaning, then it will resonate for whoever needs it in that way, or whoever it's for in that way. It will resonate and then it will mean what it means to them as they move forward in their journey. That's where I'm content to leave it. I'm, I don't have to make everything plain. I don't have to make anything plain. And my brain doesn't operate like that. I'm a Pisces with a Mercury in Pisces in my 12th house. That's how my brain operates. So that's why I also love like other readers though who like make certain things plain. I'm like, yes. I was like, I wish. Maybe also too, being honest, maybe I don't have the capability. It takes me 2 hours to say what some can say in 10 minutes. And I'm okay with that. Moon deflections with day purged. Moon day. It's a Monday. Moon day on a Monday. Look at that. If you're not watching this on a Monday, then it does not. Let me stop. Oh gosh. Look at that unwillow resistance. It was like, yeah, you'd love for it to mean resilient, wouldn't you? Yeah, store and stubborn. You, I was supposed to say, like, I was trying to say stubborn Taurus, but store and tubba came out of my mouth. Anyway, I was on like a walk one day, and I forget what it was, but it was like Anwilla is also like resilience. It's not just, or was that on a chalk? Oh, that's a lot of cards. I'm not doing it. Interestingly, Stitch and Unwind came out 39 and 44. Like all of these cards came out under Stitch, and Unwind was the card at the bottom of the deck. I actually saw it here. So it's like certain things are being unwound for other things to be stitched in. Also, Unwind can be like, take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a lot of pressure either to like get something right or whatever. Like, just like the divine trusts you, you can trust yourself. Especially if you are the beloved mystical shaman, where like you are blessed, right? And again, that's the difference. It's like there's a difference between wherever you are, therefore too shall I be. And like whenever you go here, then I shall be there, right? Thorn portal, giant thorn. And begin poplar tree, not to be like, and cloak, Offerlagoo, not Offerlagoo, Bjork and Thorn. Okay. With Destiny. Well, I think yours is Destiny now, but it's the World Serpent Yield in the first edition. And it's number 28. I think it's still 28 because in the finished Lafuma, uh, that is like one of my cards, 228. Ooh, oh, whoa, okay. So this one card flipped over face up, but it happened as I was shuffling. So it flipped face down, but when it flipped face down, it flipped a bunch of cards up. It came out, it fell out of the deck face down, but these fell, oh my gosh, just a whole pack of cards again. But this time it's with this giant portal. So let's see. The card that caused the commotion is Merge B Leaf Shade. We actually saw that at the bottom. So, because before it was stitch, unwind, and offerlegu. Again, offerlegu is a cloak or a mantle that is blessed. Offerlegu is a tool. You have to put on the cloak in order for whatever, just like the rainmaker has to shake the rattle for whatever, or the drummer has to beat the drum for whatever. With the mystical shaman, the gift is within them. So the mystical shaman doesn't have to shake a rattle or beat a drum or put on a cloak because like the witness is within them. And because like this merging being came out and that's what flipped everything else over. Again, it's like something that someone incorporates into their being. Giant thorny portal again. Pop. Oh, they're still there, right? So thorn portal begin the cloak over mantle over lagoon with moon deflections, flow first blood, and fruit bearing offer. Kusma, Flusa, and Applebear. I had this thought lately, and it was something about like getting back to Eden, right? They were told not to eat the fruit of the tree of, not to eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but they did. And it's not to be, once we know, it's not to be ignorant, but it's almost like what if, because God created mankind, right? This is where we go off script. This is non-canon. Just musing here, I guess. But I am a respecter of the sacred. Let me muse with the Bible. Anyway, like for example, God knew that Adam and Eve were naked, even when they didn't know they were naked. Right? And so it's almost like with knowing the dual nature of mankind, it's to already know that there are going to be wrongs that they commit and there are going to be rights that they commit. But in the knowledge of good and evil, to know, like, there's a difference between doing something wrong and not, like, in the court of man, ignorance of the law is no excuse. But you could say in the court of the divine that ignorance of the law is. Because if you don't know any better or if you don't know any differently, then how can you be expected? Like if you weren't created with that knowledge, then how could you be expected to know type energy, right? But when they ate when they ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that's when you know. Like if you're not doing right by somebody, you know. And if you ignore that feeling or if you justify it, however you justify it, doesn't matter. You know you're doing wrong by someone else and you're doing it anyway. And the fact that you're convincing yourself that it's right makes it even the more wrong. Because if it were right, you wouldn't need to convince yourself that it is right, type energy. And so now it's like after we've conquered the struggle with our sort of nature, our ego, because again, we're dual natured. It's like we get back to Eden when we can do right, type energy, and know that we're doing right, right? And that's the beloved, right? That's the one who has proven that they're strong enough to do whatever. That's the one that can take peace and allow it to be peaceful. Where even wronged, they don't need bloody retribution because bloody retribution perpetuates the cycle of bloody retribution. It will never end. And now you're bringing the conflict into Eden. You know what I mean? Type energy. That's why there are no pathways. There are no paths paved back. But also, and I don't know why, like 2 hours and 15 minutes, like 2 hours later, this is the energy of not the secret garden because but there was an energy that came out like 2 years ago ish, not necessarily at this time, but not maybe necessarily not at this time. Like there was a clearing in the forest to which there were no paths. There are no guides to Eden. There are only guardians. Like the person that was lost in the woods and the wolf found them, the wolf took them out of the woods because you can't. It's like if in other morality is just like a lens that we use. It's not truly viewing something through our eyes. And that's how it becomes so easy for people to commit the whatever under that same lens and under that same guise because the judgment still isn't truly their own at that point. There's like nothing in there. Just, I mean, hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Oh no, where did I put it? Oh, the cup is all the way over there. Hey, I'm the only person drinking from this, so. And there's only about a shot left. 1057 or 7501. Well, that's ml. 750 ml. I don't know what prompted that. But again, like there are no guides to Eden, there are only guardians. That's how it reads. Yeah, that was like not even a full shot. Let me stop. That's why there is no wind, right? The mystical shaman, literally, the mystical shaman and the wild woman were the only two that could see the wind, but furthermore, see the spirit in the wind. That's why the Six of Swords keeps death out, but it's not a wind to take anyone anywhere. That was the Chariot and the Knight of Cups. Cool. I'm sure there have been people or times, maybe, right? It's like you could say the fruit was eaten that long ago, and we as people are still working to fully digest it. You could say, but hey, anyway, what's the bottom of these? Oh, yeah, destiny. Well, it's not destiny here, it's just the owl senses is behind that world serpent, and hang true is behind owl senses. There are many people that are hanged, and so few of them hang true. It's like sometimes we hang long enough to get what we thought we wanted. Sometimes we hang long enough to get what we wanted, but not long enough to get the truth. Not long enough to get a sense of all things or more things. But for those that hang true and that develop those senses, you could say they are destined to return to Eden. Anyway. And again, it's like the life of man. It's like you could say the life of a person is characterized by their struggle of good and evil. I feel like good and evil is a bit extreme. Who's perfect among us? Apparently, if this resonates for you, hey, you're perfect. That was a quite a bit though, so I'm gonna get some more. But if we needed clarification on like the mystical shaman, that's the beloved, right? And that's when they become beloved. And it's beloved because of the potential that we were created with. Excuse me, or even if we are dual natured, we can still, excuse me, live in a way that's true to us. And I wonder if it's almost less impactful too to adopt a truth from another or to hold, to live to live in accordance with the truth of another, right? It's like there's a difference between living to someone else's standard and living to the standard that is self evident, evidenced to and by the self, and to live in accordance with that rather than to live in accordance with something borrowed from another, where it's to serve as guidance, yes. But anyway, final card, the legit final card from, okay. Look, it's that Stitch again. Flirsa, first blood, bottom of the deck. Okay. And Apple Bearer under that, because apparently Flirsa wanted, I don't know, the first mature fruit, which Flirsa is the time of maturation, specifically for the feminine. Tear smelt is on the backside of this needle. So it's interesting that the thorn portal, I mean, caused such a scene with merge. No, it was merge to be. Merge be leaf shade that caused such a scene. And now we have needle here again because we saw those two. It fell out like this face up, that face down. Let's see. Let's see if we can line it up. There we go. Obviously, they're not all drawn to scale, but there's an idea of what these will look like layered. Oh, well, now Smelt is on the floor. All right. It's now 4:34. I think that's it. I kind of want to pull something else, but I think that's it. I think that shall be all for me today. Yeah. So it's like someone's gone through all of the work of not only getting to know the divine for themselves, but also navigating their life in a way that honors that, right? Like someone has proven that they're strong enough mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong enough to almost to stand against the world, but in the way of like everything that the world could. It's almost very like, I feel like Buddhistic isn't a word. Like Buddha, I would assume like Buddhist. I mean, it could be anything, but so much of that is also in teaching to the point where it's more about honoring the teachings or honoring one's faith. Because that's just like that overlagu. Even if it's something that someone puts on, it's still outside of them. Anyway, what do I know? Who am I? Just musing, right? I hope you'll have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey may you find. And until next time, that's been ICC 8068. That's all from me. I was gonna try to think of another rhyme, but it's fine.